Let's play! Whoa!
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. You all may call me Pharaoh, and welcome back to Let's Play Raging Loop. Last time we left off, we had to decide as wolves, who are we going to kill first? Like, we tried to do that before, but then Chimi decided to go gung-ho and just decided to kill herself. So, we decided, okay, let's choose between Hashimoto and Takumi. Tried Hashimoto. That was a bad idea because Takumi is a snake and he outed us immediately. So we went after Takumi, and after we brutally destroyed him to try grounding Kaori-san and Haru-chan, we then met the badger god that is possessing Haru, and which also cemented what I thought very early in the game when we saw that monster. I'm like, isn't that Haru? Sure enough it was. So now, we have a new feast today. Let's begin today's feast. We need to hang the wolves that killed Takumi. Prayer time was over for her. Her sadness and confusion had become hatred of the wolves. Everyone displayed approval of her words, including us wolves. We might have been the ones terrorizing them, but it wasn't hard for us to act like the powerless resistance. First of all, Yasunaga-kun said that Takumi-san's death rendered the snake's power meaningless. His tones seemed authentic, so it was hard to believe he was just hiding that we'd lost the snake. That means that the only confirmed humans so far are Mochi and Hashimoto-san. With Chiini, the old wolf man, and Takumi gone, there's only 13 of us now, with 11 being unconfirmed. We must choose only one to hang, huh? That is quite difficult. Pick who's a snake looking at tonight. That'll leave just 10. Well, if we're to consider the order... Yasunaga-kun was giving me a sideways glance. It should be you, Ni-chan. You talk a lot, so if people start to think you're suspicious... Yeah, I'd imagine the old fart talk shit about you. Am I suspicious? You and a journal woman were against hanging the first day. Well, Takumi was against it too. Even you understood why, right? I voted for the hanging. Kanzao-san began presenting his unreasonable argument. He was basically saying that just about everyone here deserved the noose. Please calm down. We still don't have enough information to decide. It's a mistake to use that vote as a basis for a hanging. I was the one who suggested it, and I'm a monkey. So please control yourselves. Now, if we were to be optimistic, what's the likelihood of the old wolf person from yesterday being a wolf? 0! A certain answer from a place no one expected. Old Pharaoh was a human! Oh, he's a crow. Wait, are you saying that you... Don't move! Any of you! Well, that's not good, buddy. Sharp words from a sharp sound. And a sharp sound. He stabbed a kitchen knife from the dining hall into the tatami before him. Haru-chan gasped, while Kanzao-san made a stern face and got up. I said don't fucking move! That means you too, old fart! Kanzao-san could have probably beaten him even 1 or 2 stab wounds in him. He didn't do it though, probably because the hostility in Yoshisugu-kun's voice was highly restrained. Despite his intense words, he was very calm and displayed great determination. It was a silent threat. And Kanzao-san believed it was worth listening to him. What is it? Say it. He even encouraged him to talk. I'm the crow. The old wolf guy we hanged yesterday was a human. If anyone else says they're the crow, they're faking it. And I'll kill him right now. Stop! We don't need such demonstrations! I won't stop. The feast's all about whether you believe or not, right? In that case, the ones who will win are the ones who show just how damn serious they are. Right, you wolf assholes? If you want to die, try saying you're a crow. I dare ya! I saw what he was doing here. He's repeating Takumi. They both reached the same conclusion because they weren't wrong. Due to the unreliable nature of playing the odds, the feast became, just as I thought, a game of politics rather than logic. In political scenarios, the ones who were in charge were the loudest and most emotional, not the most rational. After all, logic required energy to understand. Basically, it was a pain in the ass. The people who actually enjoyed building complex, logical theories were by far in the minority. The majority disliked wasting energy on understanding them, even if they did have the capacity. There was something that they all had in common. They all wanted to believe the world was actually easy to understand, the truth was simple, and that someone was just making it more complex than it was. The truth was that any world worked based on complicated mechanisms, and it only seemed simple because you wanted to see it that way. However, it was impossible to impress the complexity of the world upon everyone. Thus, people always left certain matters, such as science or politics, to those considered to be pros. It was a sensible delegation of authority. But, to earn trust, you needed to present yourself in a way that was simple, rather than complex. You needed a story that the ones who'd cast logic aside could easily swallow. Like Takumi-san back then, and Yoshisuke-kun now, they'd realized that, so they decided to gamble on it. Discard logic, pick your methods based on feeling and preference, gamble, and win support. They provided the anti-logic crowd with a convenient lifeboat. It was definitely a good approach. But Yoshisuke-kun had overlooked two things. Doesn't look like there's anyone. Then I guess I'm the real crow, huh? First was his own nature. He was a persuasive person even when there was no basis for it. I actually admired that. Yoshisuke-kun was your generic edgy delinquent to the core. However, he was kind at heart, as well as passionate and naive. That much was plain for me to see. It was why everyone could believe in him if he took things seriously enough. As long as he stayed honest, no one would doubt him. It was a rare and valuable talent. In a good-natured society, that is. I see. Then, let's all assume he's a crow, while the old man was a human. That means we have 10 people here, 3 of which are wolves. That was all that he'd earned by revealing his guardian to us wolves. Was it really worth the risk? The other thing he'd misunderstood was that this was something that couldn't be emulated. No one who tried something similar would get the same results. This was because winning via brute force was usually a bad move in this game. He was an exception. It did nothing, and he could only use it once. You should have saved that for the endgame, Yoshisuke-kun. Oh, how I wanted to say that. I wanted to put on a shit-eating grin and tell that to him. I really wanted him to understand how harsh the world really was. Thus, I had to survive. Damn it. I had to win this even more now. I respect your courage in revealing your guardian. I also have something to say. What is it? If this is Yoshinaga-kun's trap, I'd fall right into it. It'd be embarrassing, but I'd just loop back and try again. I'm the snake. That's why I couldn't look into myself. You? I can't be as intense as he was. But if there's any wolf who wants to be a fake snake, I'll tear them down with facts and logic. Do we have any volunteers? No. Of course not. Takumi Muro really was the snake. Well, that lowers the number of unknowns to 9. And Yasunaga-kun didn't know that either. Oh, how I wanted to thank Takumi-san. Because of how thoroughly he kept his secret, we wolves would be saved. Is that why you suggested we investigate Takumi-ni? Yes. It was wasted, though. I see. So you basically declared who you would investigate. And if the targets are killed, will never increase the amount of confirmed humans. Bingo. That was why I suggested we check Takumi-san. I also wanted to see his reaction to help me figure out if he was a snake. Then, who did you look into the first night? I already had an answer to that. Yasunaka Oribe-kun. He's a human. Well, that leaves 8. Can I suppose another one? That cute little girl, Miko-chan, right? Isn't she a badger? I knew he would point that out.
Is that the one you talked about? The one that would lie?
Yes, I do think the badger exists.
Bah! No! I'm the goat! I am sorry she's being like this. But I also think that as well. If she's not talking nonsense, she insists we hang someone, which is definitely something she did not previously do.
Well, I don't know what her role is, but if she has contact with the wolves, I'm sure they told her to keep quiet. Therefore, I believe we should assume that she's a human. Definitely not a wolf, at least.
Well, if you remove her, that leaves just 7. Kanzao-san?
Quit joking! Silence. The badger? That don't exist.
Kan-chan, did you forget when Gensen talked about it?
Gen's gone senile then. Not worth believing.
But the idea that she'd be so quiet if she was a wolf is believable, right?
Not at all. The wolves could just be using her as a sacrifice to hide themselves. Hey, Yasu's really human, huh, Snake? Yes, no doubt about it. Then he's too soft.
No, I just...
You said we should hang even if she died.
Oh. So you don't trust me?
The mood changed. Yasunaka-kun was as stern as he'd been when he was a wolf.
You want to shut him up?
Not yet.
Oh man, Yasun's mad. I'd really like to go now. Ni-chan, stop. You're scaring me. You too, Oji-chan.
Fusashi-san, we considered investigating me before. But that's meaningless now, right? Yeah, it's already done.
Then investigate Haru-chan next.
Eh?
Me? You'll do that?
Yes. Once that's done, you'll be safe. I didn't mind that. Now that I'd taken the role of a snake, I could lie as much as I wanted. But why do you suggest it now? Quit messing around! Naturally, Kanzao-san snapped. Investigate me! I'm human! The youngin said I'm more important here. I also believe that it's best to investigate the most influential participants.
You've shown your true colors.
What?
You want to flaunt your importance in the feast instead of ensuring your own granddaughter's safety.
I get it. She's dead, so you want to have Haru now, huh?
What did you say? I don't think of Haru-chan that way.
Oh, something bad's gonna happen here. Yasunaka-kun was able to finish his sentence because Kanzao-san's fist didn't reach him. Yoshisuke-kun jumped in at that right time to take it in his stomach.
You're scum!
Shut it! He then sunk his left fist into Yoshisuke-kun's cheek. The teen fell to the ground. The kitchen knife from before was still in the tatami a few feet in front of him. Kanzao-san had already noticed it, so he beat Yoshisuke-kun to the punch and grabbed the handle. Then prepared to...
Oji-chan, stop!
Everyone was looking at Kanzao-san right now. Cold stares, fearful eyes, judgmental glares. Yasunaka-kun's trap wasn't that special. Like he said, it was worth investigating Kanzao-san and confirming his humanity at this point. However, since he was so rough about it, Kanzao-san had gone and treated Haru-chan as Yasunaka-kun's woman, rather than his dear granddaughter. That was when he had to retract his statement and stop himself. There were many ways he'd gone about this, like saying that letting Haru-chan be investigated could get her killed, like Takumi-san last night. Or he could have said he'd made a mistake, that Haru-chan was more important, and let her have the turn. He would have still had everyone's respect then. He could have still been the backbone of the village. But now, he turned violent and pointed a blade at the defenseless brothers. Right now, he was just a threat to everyone. Upon coming back to his senses, he seemed to have realized that he'd crossed a line he could never come back from. The crude old man was at a loss for words. Excuses, manipulation, rationalization, all of these concepts were foreign to a character as stoic as he was. A man of few words had little he could say after such a catastrophic blunder. However, out of all the words he could have chosen, hang me. I certainly didn't expect those. I did, because he realized the mistake he did. He knew there was no going back. No one would trust him. He's like, well, that's that. Now, are people going to believe like he's like human, or can we use this to our advantage, saying like, no, he really is the wolf? Oh crap, well then again, Yoshi will just confirm he's human.
Oji-chan?
I've lost my edge. Gus is right. I forgot what mattered and pointed a blade at a human. No one will listen to me now. And that's fine. I gotta be gone.
But... no! I'll be all alone then!
Haru, that ain't true. Yasumizu's your family. It's what they think as well. Yasu.
Yes?
You can defeat the wolves, right?
I must.
You too, Yoshi?
Damn fucking right!
Oribe, you got some good sons.
I only...
let us calm down for a second. This is a bit too chaotic. Shut it, outsider.
But... this is our problem.
Oh dear.
Kan-chan, isn't it too early?
Others should die first. Taiba, you better prepare as well.
Oji-chan!
Stay strong, Haru.
Oh man. Were these people brain dead? This wasn't a time or place for this. Personal vendettas, lover spats, brotherly union, maturity, generation gaps. This wasn't a situation where you could just waste time on something like that, was it? Kanzao-san was human no matter how you put it. Sure, he'd sown some discord, but they had to make an effort to fix that. I didn't mind if they got rid of someone who'd made an unnecessary scene, but their decision should have been more calculated and less emotional. Those who weren't part of the circle just didn't know how to react. Hashimoto-san showed some serious courage trying to intervene. However, he'd underestimated how cold Yasumizu could be toward other outsiders. I knew that well, thanks to Chiyomi. Well, not like I objected to his outcome. If these people were going to accept his death and find a unity in madness, I'd just play along. I wasn't looking down on them. I just thought they were brain dead, but I had to take that back. Madness was a fearsome foe to face. I let myself revel. What the hell did I just say? I let myself revel, Jesus, in victory once I actually won. And I would definitely emerge victorious. Thanks to my looping, I had all the attempts I needed and then some. Don't become... Why'd her face just come back to my head? She'd had nothing to do with this turn of events, right? Not even the last time. What was I not supposed to become? A wolf? It was a little too late, though, for that. It's not like I have a choice, right? Takumi-san and Chiyomi were gone now. Thus, the task of tying up, dragging, and hanging Kanzao-san had transferred to the Oribe brothers. The elder brother led, while the younger one dragged. Everyone else followed after, singing a saddening version of Prayer to Shinai. Though perplexed, the journals joined in too, and they looked a lot like I had back then. By this point, the feeling the villagers were crazy had dulled, and I was starting to believe that I was the anomaly here.
The term peer pressure came to mind. There certainly was a way to use peer pressure to erode people's aversion to murder and reduce them to marionettes. By imposing such meaningless, repetitive rituals on a group of people enough times, they would eventually be viewed as commonplace events. It'd be done many times throughout history. In wars, POW camps, cultist sects, and a feast? No. Yasumizu as a whole was a prime example of that. The local culture was deeply ingrained in their minds. Anyone living here would eventually start to question their own way of life. So the story I created wasn't far off the mark. Anyone living near a hellish place long enough would themselves become inhabitants of hell. If you looked at it that way, I might have been a resident of hell myself. Now, what did the great lord of the local hell, Shinai-sama, want out of something so needlessly profound? I still didn't know. In fact, I wasn't sure if God himself knew what he wanted out of this. Just a thought. An eternal dance of murder and concealment, shrouded in the densest mist.
Oji-chan!
I already said goodbye. I leave the rest to you.
Rise not. Oji-chan! Rise not.
The brothers extended their hands, and the rugged old man's body fell down. In a moment, the rope went taut. I heard a sound akin to a frog's croak from the down below. The seeds of malice I planted had grown and bloomed. I wanted him to live a bit longer and play the role of the antagonist, hateful old fart. But oh well. Deciding to kill him would probably haunt Yasunaga-kun until he died. As someone with a strong sense of justice, he would either eventually self-destruct or struggle to find some internal justification for it. No. We promised Kaori-san that we would kill him soon. Whatever the case, that was no problem for us. For now, I just had to be wary of some surprise attacks from the rest. Hope that the last of the Uematsu, Rikaku-san, didn't have any other secrets. And think of how to deal with these two. Hashimoto-san wasn't shaken by the lynching, and as we returned, our eyes met. I had no idea what he was thinking. His expression and eyes both were unreadable to me. He, on the other hand, clearly read something about me. That wasn't fair. First Yoshitsugu-kun, now Hashimoto-san. Their damn superpowers are just unfair. They were the reason why I, a normal, talentless individual who didn't stand out in any way, had to take such drastic measures. I couldn't even tell if he actually suspected me, or was just slightly uneasy. I felt like I was doing a good job, but since I was now at the forefront, it was more likely that I would be targeted. What would he do next? I was actually kind of excited for tomorrow's feast. After the feast, everyone gathered in the dining hall. With barely any words, we ate a simple dinner and went our own ways. Takumi-san and Kanzao-san were gone now, so we didn't even have anyone say that it was time to go back. However, it was hard to believe they would just collapse. Hashimoto-san would plan and decide what to do tomorrow, and the Oribe brothers would do something as well. I could only imagine what they were thinking of in the window between sheltering and dreaming. Thus began our third secret meeting. We would tear their fragile plans to shreds.
Now, let's fulfill the promise.
Her voice was calm, but stern. Let's give one of your sons their rest.
Certainly. Now, which were we going for? Ni-chan? Yoshi-kun?
They sure were excited about this. It still pissed me off. As did Chimi's face, which often flashed before my eyes recently. Before we do that, can't you two suffer a bit more? I made a smile and asked that.
Suffer?
I mean, this is difficult for you, right? You're about to send the son back to Yomi. It's a tragedy, isn't it? Haru-chan, you just sat there and watched as your own grandfather was hanged today. That's madness. A terrible way for a human to act. I've done many terrible things since being born and granted this power. Sending people to where they truly belong carries with it a lot of sympathy, empathy, and guilt. Ugh. This lie was such a pain at this point. I didn't even have a reason to keep telling it anymore. If we act normal while doing this kind of thing, we won't be in the right anymore.
Do you think we're not suffering?
Oh? You are?
Of course. It's a bother to cry at this point, so we simply just do our best to be insane. And I just don't want to cause you trouble. Unlike you, we can't keep up with you unless we go insane.
But people normally don't know how to go insane. Also, Haru-chan, don't act like this is my fault. Kaori-san will die after she kills her sons, but you won't, right? You need to survive and bear this sin.
I can die too, can't I? Yes, she can, can't she?
I raised my leg and kicked over the bucket.
Oh my!
I've had enough of this nonsense.
Then why not get this over with? Yeah, like we should.
Okay, so... I'm really trying to think here, like, what would be best. Frankly, it's always been kind of historically accurate that Yasunaga was the one who always was a little bit more dangerous. But we also know now that Yoshi is apparently the crow. So I'm trying to think what would be more beneficial to get rid of. But I'm also thinking, too, because they're giving us this choice, I would assume one of them would send us down the bad path, right? So, and the other thing, too, is like, Kaori kind of mentioned she wanted to go after Yasu first. I could have sworn anyway. But if I go beyond that, if I go against it, will that do anything? You know what? Let's go after Yoshi. We would kill Yoshisugu Ribe. Killing the crow was a very logical move for the wolves. Even if Kanzao-san were alive, I didn't think anyone could imagine Kaori-san was a wolf actively killing her sons. Still, it was important that we had a consistent story. Are you okay with going for Yoshisugu-kun?
Yoshisugu. Oh, Yoshisugu. Alright. I can finally put him to rest.
I was getting pissed off again. Was it because I was twisted and playing the part of the villain? Yet the two of them were suspected to be acting like they were the good guys? Kaori-san.
Yes?
Please kill him yourself. Otherwise the story wouldn't make any sense. If the murder was done out of motherly love, the crime needed to reflect that ideology. Because there's no way she would do it. And then she would suffer. Suffer.
Alright.
She shouldn't be alright with it.
I'll do it too. I let you do the whole thing yesterday.
Be thorough. Don't leave a semblance of his original shape behind.
Why?
So we don't leave any traces behind. If it's done after the killing blow, he won't suffer.
I see. Alright then.
Are you good with that too, Kaori-san?
Yes.
Suffer. His room was just to the rear of the dining hall. It was a small room used for storage that he started sleeping in since 2 years back.
I was always concerned since Yasunaga moved into the dorm. It's sad, isn't it? How boys can't always live together.
Like I cared. Go ahead. I handed her a grass sickle laying nearby. Do your best, please. I finally calmed down after watching Kaori-san wail as she chopped up her son. In the end, Haru-chan just just mostly watched blankly from the sidelines the whole time. By the time we had to carry Kiyori-san back to the dining hall once she'd collapsed from exhaustion, my irritation had faded. Haru-chan took care of undressing her. It would have been hard to redress her, so it seemed like she just removed the outfit and put her to bed. Oh, here comes the badger again.
You have gone completely mad, haven't you, city dweller?
I'm not going mad.
Then how could you corner Kiyori-san like that with a faint smile?
Because I was relieved.
Huh?
Generally, I live in accordance with the local common sense and sense of morality. So when those go mad, I have to go mad as well. I was relieved that part of Kiyori-san didn't want to kill her son. Seeing her cry was a load off my chest. If she hadn't shown a single sign of remorse, I might have snapped and killed her.
Then that is what is defined as going mad.
Why's that? It's unfair for the one who went mad first to not take any responsibility.
Splendid. I still cannot comprehend your abnormality. That is what attracts me to you.
I think I'll make an exception and turn you down.
Oh, what a cold answer. And why?
Because you're... No. Never mind.
Reluctant to part, are you?
Shut up. Just now, I felt like I was on the verge of realizing what God was. But that sensation vanished like mist, and I returned to the prefab with dissatisfaction lingering in my heart. Alright. So, I don't know, something tells me I may have chosen a bad choice because this feels like it's going a little faster. Typically, when you do the right thing, not to say it drags, but there's more info, right? This doesn't seem like it's right. I must have been really tired. I awoke to the sound of someone knocking on the door. Excuse me, they were making quite a racket. I opened my eyes and looked out the window to see... Haru-chan?
Wake up! Fusashi-san, wake up!
I quickly got up and I realized something wasn't right. What's wrong?
Kiyori-san's lost it!
It was dangerous to talk about that sort of thing during the day. I looked around outside in a hurry, but couldn't tell if anyone else was there in the mist. Still, I invited her in and locked the door so we can continue. What happened? The first thing Kiyori-san did when she got up was... Ni-chan! It was then I finally noticed Haru-chan's breathing was ragged. There were tear stains on her cheeks. Calm down.
There was so much blood.
Sorry.
Why are you apologizing?
Because I'm the one who pushed Kiyori-san that far.
But in the end, we killed everyone together.
You don't have to think it's right.
I don't do that.
Now wasn't time to persuade her. I left her behind in the prefab and went outside. I armed myself with a stick to be safe and headed for the plaza, but by the time I got there, everything had been resolved. The dining hall was a sea of blood. In the midst of it was a blood-stained corpse that apparently belonged to Yasunaga-kun. Behind the counter, I saw the adults, or rather, Hashimoto-san pinning Kiyori-san down. Hashimoto-san leaned on Kiyori-san, leaving her gasping for air and moaning in agony. She must have been hurt. Fusashi-san, could you bring me some rope and help me tie her up? I couldn't believe he still had a poker face on in times like this. The spurt of blood on his chest only extenuated the oddity of it all. Not that I was in any position to say anything about it. Alright. Rikaku-san.
Oh, this way.
I took Rikaku-san out of the ring of people surrounding Kiyori-san and got what we needed. Kiyori-san screamed and raged after being bound, but in the end could do nothing as we locked her up in the dining hall. Though we were all present after I brought Haru-chan back, the oppressive atmosphere didn't fade.
Are you okay, Haru-chan? Did Hassan do anything to you? Of course not. Don't talk to me. Haru-chan?
First she lost her grandfather, and now the boy who'd been like an older brother to her. There's nothing that could possibly cheer Haru-chan up. Still, we had to do the feast, as well as decide how to handle Kiyori-san before that. With Kanzao-san, Takumi-san, and Yoshinaga-kun gone, Kinosuke Shiya, Hashimoto-san, and I ended up with the biggest influence out of necessity. I was a little surprised that the two of them have agreed not to torture Kiyori-san from the start. Maybe I was the one messed up for finding that surprising, but the both of them were avoiding tormenting a fellow villager. Thus, I played along with them, knowing it'd give me an advantage. On the other hand, there was the matter of how to deal with Kiyori-san. While the people of Yasumizu were calling to hang her immediately, Hashimoto-san and Mamiya-san had different ideas. She broke the laws, yes? That means she'll automatically be punished later, right?
Leaving someone so terrifying is definitely scary, but let's think about it calmly, alright? We've lost a crow and another human on top of that. We can't get them back. There are 10 of us here, and Kanzao-san didn't seem like a wolf, meaning there are almost certainly 3 wolves left. If that girl, the badger, has turned to the wolf's side, that means they have 4 votes. We humans still had a majority with 6 votes.
Are you trying to say that gives us some breathing room? If we hang the wrong person today, we'll have only 4 votes against 3. I think it would be better to hang Madame Uribe and create a situation where we have 5 votes against 3, don't you? Only the monkeys and the snake have revealed themselves right now. Speaking of which, what were the results of your investigation of Fusashi-kun? Oh, it seems like Haru-chan's a human. Well, that makes 4. And if Miku is a badger and Kiyori Uribe a wolf, that means 2 of the remaining 4 are wolves. Now, isn't it more important to get rid of one confirmed wolf and when an imbalance exists over betting on a 50-50 chance? Logically speaking, he was right. If the snake continued investigating with the spider protecting them, there would be no more unconfirmed people before long. If the humans could kill a confirmed wolf, they'd have more than half the votes over the wolves and gain plenty of time until they could secure the victory. However, I don't know the details since I wasn't there, but is Kiyori-san really a wolf? Maybe she simply lost after seeing the horrible state of Yoshisuke-kun's body and ended up killing Yasunaga-kun as a result?
No, she said it herself. She said she'd received the blessing of the Omatsu Ukami-sama, the true guardians, and that we were all Yomibito and thus she'd grant us salvation, that she'd saved her son through death.
Tae-san's eyes shifted toward a pool of blood. So Kiyori-san had confessed everything. What a handful of a teammate she turned out to be. That story doesn't sound right now, does it?
I've heard that version of the story apparently exists in Kamafuji Yoshi, but anyway, all we gotta do is decide who to hang in the feast. All we can do is leave Kiyori-san behind.
I see. Well, I agree. What about the rest of you? No one objected. Then let's take this to the hall. Oh, Kinosuke Nosato-san. What is it? You laid out your idea just now, but if we found another wolf, it would be a different story. I had a bad feeling about this.
Everyone had a drink. Let's begin the feast.
Hashimoto-shi, I would like you to explain what you were implying. I've been doing some thinking. There are 2 wolves amongst us, yes? Chikamochi Kamoshida-kun and I are monkeys. Fusashi-kun is a snake and Haru Makashima-san is a human. Also, Miko-chan is likely the badger.
No, I'm not. Let that lady go. Man, it must be tough being a wolf.
You think so? She's a little girl, so many will be reluctant to lynch her. To the wolves, she's a vote that's hard to lose. Well, I have no intention of killing her myself. If the humans win, she shouldn't have to die.
Huh?
That aside. Oh, excuse me. Anyway, the ones here who haven't been confirmed yet are Yamawaki-san, Masato-san, Uematsu-san, and Q-chan. One of those four is a wolf.
On paper, anyway.
Well, at this point, I tried thinking like a wolf. And I noticed something was off.
Well, don't keep us in suspense. Tell us.
I wasn't trying to keep you in suspense. Honestly, what I consider off is nothing more than an impression of mine. And when you suspect someone, you become cautious. With that said, I took what Aribe-san said into serious consideration, and it appears her killing was well-intentioned.
Preposterous!
Is it now? I was going to say the same goes for all of us after that.
How? The wolves are the leaders of the Yomibito, and they kill humans wielding corruption and grudges.
Oh, no, that's not what I meant. I was referring to the execution we all call hanging. It's believed that hanging someone brings them salvation, right? That it's better than being killed by the wolves.
Well, yes.
The wolves are the same in how they also justify their own killings as being for the supposed good of others.
An outsider would never understand. Hey, Hashimoto-san, that was originally my rule. Are you sure about this?
My apologies. Anyway, Kiori Aribe-san acted under the belief that she wanted to kill her son quickly for his own good. Thus, the desire to kill her sons must have been the first thing that had popped into her head, naturally. And yet, she put herself at risk to kill Yasunaka-kun instead of waiting for night. Isn't that strange? Why wasn't Yasunaka-kun the first victim then? Well, Sarazawa was the first to die, but it was Muro who was the first to die at the hands of the wolves. Yes, that's right. Takumi Muro-san.
Oh, Takumi, why?
Isn't that strange? He was always the heart of discussion, so the wolves tried to sabotage that. Well, that's also true, but my claim was that Aribe-san likely wanted to kill her sons. If so, I would. Oh, gee, I didn't read that right at all. I think it would have been made a lot more sense for the wolves to have killed Yasunaga-kun. He had a point. If we killed Yasunaga-kun, there was a good chance of us throwing the feast into emotional and conservative chaos. Which meant that Hashimoto-san's argument was, why was it that the wolves would go so far as to reject Oribe-san's opinion to target Muro-san instead?
Well, maybe Kiori-san wasn't that hung up after killing him at that point?
Well, true. That's not out of the question, but there's a more likely possibility. After Sarazawa-san stole her chance on the first day and she was denied on the second day, Aribe-san felt driven into a corner and went berserk.
Shit, how the hell did he know?
Why do you think that's more likely? Well, she says she was a wolf. The point is that she didn't have a problem with that, but she admitted it herself, right? Had she caused that commotion of the approval of the other wolves, I don't think she would have ever said that. Curiously enough, I think Fusashi-san had it right. She could say it was because she simply lost her mind and gone on a rampage. Were she simply feigning madness, I think we'd be worrying about it more right about now. I see.
So, what you're saying is that everything went according to plan for the wolves up until Muro-san's death, but Kiori Aribe-san didn't approve. Which is why she caused this commotion, right? Where are you getting it at with all this?
In other words, the wolves insisted on killing Muro-san, and though they had restrained Aribe-san until yesterday, they lost control of her today. Those wolves are supposedly amongst those four, but honestly, that just doesn't sound right. I'm sorry. That could be interpreted as me saying none of you look like you have the power to lead. But first of all, let's start with the lady. She's an elegant woman who I can't see going out of her way to reject Oribe-san's somewhat valid proposal. Yamawaki-san is an elder, so she may have held more power than Oribe-san. But would she really use that to force her to kill Takumi-san first?
I would never do such a thing.
That's sophistry. So long as Kaori-san was fixated on killing her beloved son quickly, it wouldn't be strange if things turned out the same way.
What's gotten into you?
This guy's trying to cast doubt on me. Could you keep quiet, Fusashi-kun? Yeah, I think we're dead. I had to stop him. I had to stop him from swaying everyone's hearts. As for Nosato-san, you do not appear to be well liked by the people of Yasumizu, so I don't think you could have cooperated with Oribe-san that well. Oh, now you're just making assumptions. Kaori-san always tried to maintain harmony, so maybe she just went along with Kiyanosuke-san's decision the first time. I can't say I liked hearing some of that, but I suppose you're right. Besides, I would have probably agreed to prioritize eliminating Yasunaga-kun over Muro. As for Q-chan, this basically goes without saying, but I don't think any of you would listen to what an outsider like her wanted.
Well, you're right there. Besides, I don't have the markings of a leader in me.
Well, that means the leader of the wolves isn't one of them. How bizarre. So maybe someone we assume to be a confirmed human was lying all along.
Impossible. So that would have to mean the one who claimed that the snake is actually a wolf.
Oh, that's a lively imagination. No, it's a delusion you got there. Well, haven't you noticed, Fusashi-kun? You've barely said a word today. And when you did, it was only to attack my arguments. Well, isn't it natural to fight back against someone trying to frame you?
Stop it! You say all that, but you seem quite irritated yourself. You're acting strange, too.
Unfortunately, no matter how strange I may seem, I'm not a wolf. I'm a monkey. And yes, I am irritated. While I can't say I agree with people killing each other, given the special environment they were born into, I could at least understand it to some degree. But an outsider who sneaks into the village and takes advantage of the circumstances to commit crafty murders is truly revolting. Like I said, those are your own delusions. You're based this on a whole insane premise that I'm some sly brute. Besides, didn't you say yourself, an outsider can't lead the wolves? I don't know if you're partners or lovers or whatever, but those are some pretty ballsy double standards you have to protect Mamiya-san, yet accuse me.
Excuse me? I can't let that one pass. Are you messing around?
Well, he may not be wrong.
No, there's nothing going on between Hashimoto-san and I.
Good. It was a huge risk, and now I cast doubt on Hashimoto-san's side. Now I have to press some more and... You're not an outsider anymore. You have been welcomed as a member of this village. And I'd say that was a fairly sly act on your part. You forced your way into joining the village, then gained a minimum amount of trust. Was it all planned? Plus, if you had the guts and silver tongue to declare yourself a snake, you could have also cajoled Oribe-san, couldn't you? Though it seems you couldn't talk your way out of this. Oh, is this what they call a lack of trust? My condolences. I'm sure you realized at some point that Takumi-san was probably the snake and decided to kill him. Who even are you to begin with? Why did you make your way into this settlement? Did you already know about all this? His verbal assault was entirely based on speculation, but it's a well-crafted story. Like I said, those were all nothing but speculations. Of course it was, because if it was the story I'd actually put together, his deductions just happened to be right on the money, that was all. Then what if I said something that wasn't a speculation? If you got something, by all means, go for it. How did you know? Huh? Maybe you figured out last night's victim was Yoshisugu Oribe-kun through process of elimination. But how did you know the state of his body? Maybe you didn't know, but his body was cleaned up long before you woke up.
Wait, holy crap, even I didn't notice this. What happened here? So I don't know the details since I wasn't there, but Kiori-san really a wolf.
Oh no, holy crap, it's always the little things, holy crap. He mentioned a horrible state. I mean, I guess you could say, yeah, assumption, but horrible state, that means like, wow. I'd said something a wolf couldn't have known? What do you mean? Yes, all you can do is play dumb, right? Seriously, I don't know what you mean. Those delusions are... It's not up to you or I to decide if it's a delusion or a convincing hypothesis. Just then, everyone stared daggers at me. Let's vote, shall we? I've been completely defeated. Still, I'm not a wolf. Yeah, that's not gonna help, buddy. Naturally, everyone voted to hang me. Haru-chan voted for me too, as she has the right to. Cleaving off the lizard's tail was a good choice. She didn't need words to cover for me with. At any rate, 2 wolves have been eliminated in the same day. This is all Kiyori Aribe's fault. Was that the way I should think? Or should I think that I'd handled her this wrong way? Seriously, was there a way for the wolves to achieve victory here? Was there a way to step over that brilliant cameraman's corpse and press onwards? I felt like I was playing a troll game designed to be impossible to win. I continued to lament the absurdity of my situation until the very moment my consciousness sunk into the mist. Jeez, he is super that's why I feel like there's something up with Hashimoto. Like, besides him just being clever and sly, I feel like something's up with him. But I guess we'll find out eventually. But let's watch the hint corner really quick. He totally knocked me up. Yep. Highlights of the werewolf defeats, wasn't it? Anyway, let's get to the hint. Just choose Yoshinaga. Mad Mommy equals total defeat. Death. The outcome will be really tricky, but you need to pick the other choice, who to brutalize. What happens there will clearly be detrimental to the wolves, but a preferable outcome to this one. Well, it's one of Kiyori Aribe's typical rampages, so you'll understand for yourself when you see the events that follow. I'm sure I will. Man. Like, I don't know. Like, of course there has to be people as sly and brilliant as Hashimoto. Like, I'm thinking, like, if this whole thing was real, and this is happening straight up, would somebody like Hashimoto be out there who can deduct all this? Maybe not. But regardless, well, we know what happens if we choose Yoshisugu. So, and you know what, guys? We're actually close to an hour, so I'm going to go ahead and call it here. But next time, we will pick Yasunaga, and we will see what happens this time around. Like, will Kiyori-san still kind of go berserk? Will she not? Will Yoshi live? I don't know. Or maybe it's still going to happen where she's going to go crazy and kill both of them, but it's more so where it's like, well, okay, the wolves use logic and they went after Yasunaga first instead of going after Yoshisugu first. So maybe it's going to turn things around. Maybe we're going to figure things out, whatever. But regardless, we'll see what happens in the next episode. So, as usual, thank you all so much for watching. And I will see you all next time for Let's Play Raging Loop. Love you all so much. Have a great day.